सामान बंद रखें। ऊपर बने सामान कक्ष सावधानी से खोलें, क्योंकि हो सकता है कि आपका सामान उड़ान के दौरान अपनी जगह से हिल गया हो। बुजुर्गों की उड़ान और अधिक सेवाओं से संबंधित जानकारी के लिए आप www.goindigo.in पर लॉग इन करें।
It was a warm July evening, and there was this amazing display of fireworks across the whole city. Myself, Alex, and my two friends, Colin and Kumar, had come to India to make a film about young people creating positive change. And we had traveled thousands of miles over the past month. This was our fourth day in Kolkata, the halfway point of the trip. We hadn't shot any footage since we had arrived in the city. We were questioning why were we here and what was the point. But this night and in this place, things were turning. It was Shabi Brat, a Muslim religious rite observed as the night of good fortune, believed that one's fate for the coming year is determined in this night. When the fireworks were gone, our friends from Bodh Gaya, who we had met earlier that afternoon, checked out, and Colin ducked for bed. It was 2 a.m., and I set my eyes on a steeple in the far distance.
One of the reasons why you don't want to go to St. Paul's Cathedral right now.
I think it's a journey for you. I'm at peace where I am. I think you'd be better off going alone. I think I'd be better off if you went alone.
Alright, I guess that's freedom.
I started to drift out, and I started thinking back on the people we had met and how we'd been changed by them. It's where you see the intricacies and the connectedness of everything, and you're ready for it. You're ready for whatever comes next. And in every place, and in every person you meet, you might not realize it at the time, you leave it that. funny, because if you happen to glance back, you'll come to find that those dots resemble a line. And that line is anything you want it to be, and it goes as far as you're willing to push. Imagine the picture of a billion lines. I had failed to explain to the driver the steeple I was trying to find. We were wandering aimlessly through the winding maze of the city. He eventually slowed down in front of a nondescript gray building and asked me to step out. Barred windows, a deserted side street, and in front was a small, unassuming sign. And I realized we had arrived at the home of Mother Teresa. Sometimes we go searching for steeples and we don't find them, but instead discover something even more remarkable: boundlessness.
When you reach up to the heights, I will reach up above. When you come back to your home, I will come back to my home. When you fall down to the floor, I will fall down on mine. When you reach up to the heights, I will reach up above.
What are your personal dreams?
My dream is I want to become a dancer because it's my passion. And dance is my life. That's it. I like to dance, and anywhere like songs start, I'm dancing. This place. I really like dance.
There was a teacher who asked himself this question. He said, "There's a school we have built in the village, and now if I lock it in the evening, why am I locking it? Because there are chairs, there are things lying in the school. They should not be stolen away. Stolen by whom? People. For whom this school is meant. People. Am I protecting the school from the people for whom it is meant? Then what am I teaching them?" So he said,
Shala Bina Tala, a school without locks. He said, what am I teaching them? I'm putting locks in the school. Simple question. Simple question. Am I teaching children that they can't trust their own elders? Is that what I want to teach them? Then I don't want to teach. Is that why you're sending your kids to my school? He asked the committee. That I should tell them that they can't trust you? Because tomorrow when they come back, they won't find the mat on which they have to sit because somebody would have taken it away. You see the point?
Anil Gupta is a professor at the Indian Institute of Management in Ahmedabad. He established the National Innovation Foundation with the Government of India and is a global advocate in supporting grassroots innovation. He told us about the work of his former student, Ravi Gulati. Ravi met Professor Gupta during his MBA program at IIM, one of the most competitive business schools in the world. 300,000 people apply every year for 300 spots. While his classmates pushed on with aspirations of occupying the most powerful rungs of society, Ravi returned back to the home he grew up in to set up a school. A school without locks. Manzil means destination. The school was established by Ravi 15 years ago in his family's home in Khan Market. Manzil is a new paradigm in education in which children are the students and the teachers. Ravi believes learning starts from the self, and he's developed an environment where students build and teach their own courses in math, science, and the arts.
What would make sense for Ravi Gulati to dissolve the boundary between personal and professional? There is no part of his house which is private. Isn't it? Not a single inch. Which kids in the neighborhood cannot come and acquire and do whatever they wish to do in this space. Isn't it?
Adults theorize about childhood much more than children talk about it themselves. So, when I'm theorizing about childhood essay, I'm saying what I perceive of a child now when I'm not a child anymore. And that's why I like it at Manzil that children run their own institution. So they design their own spaces for creative process, they design their own spaces for learning, and they decide what they want to learn and what they don't want to learn. It's a kind of organic space that seeds their memories for much later in life. It's just, things keep coming back to you from the time in your childhood where you did things and you're just happy.
Ravi lives in the home with his mother and sister. His mother told us the story of how the school began.
Somebody has difficulty in maths, so we told Ravi, I told Ravi to take care of that boy. And slowly the by word of mouth spread all the things. Then Ravi feels that English is important, computer is important, and slowly if children want to, there is a space for children to go. If they want to do something, they can easily do this. The changes in their heart, because if you force them to do anything, parents force and the teachers force, then they can't flourish. They can flourish. If she wants to do anything else besides this, all the things happening, she can easily do the platform we are giving them.
In my life, I'm very scared. Like, I left my school. I told you 3 years because I was sick very, and doctors say you will not able to go school. So I'm very scared this time. I was typhoid, and my this year is not good, and doctors say operations because my window in inside.
Ear canal.
Yeah, they have some problems. So
It's scary because as a dancer, if you couldn't hear,
yeah,
it would be
I watching one person. They're not listening the music, but they're doing dance very well. So it's my I'm very inspired. I'm very fighting with my brother. I want to join to Manzar and I want to learn English and dance class also. So it's not allowed to me. You're not going to alone outside. But I'm fighting with my brother. No, I want to join. I complete 1 year.
So you only started learning English 1 year ago.
Yeah.
Ravi was traveling the week we were filming, although the school functioned as usual in his absence. He arrived back on the last night and invited us on to the rooftop of Munzil to attend a discussion with his oldest students.
एक ही डायमेंशन है जिस पे सारे ह्यूमन बींग्स को डाला जा सकता है। हमने क्या सीखा कि सब यूनिक है, लेकिन डिजाइन किस हिसाब से सारे एक जैसे। सारे बच्चे आओ, सारों को सारे सब्जेक्ट पढ़ाएंगे, सारों को सब एक तरीके से पढ़ाएंगे, कोई अलग अलग तरीका नहीं, सब किताबों से पढ़ेंगे, एक ही लेसन है सबके लिए। ये भी नहीं देखते कि कोई अलग तरीके सीखता है।
You name it Delhi school system or school system in India. If you talk about government school system, it's all the same everywhere, I guess. It isn't different in any state or city. What happens in school is that because it's a mentality, it's peer pressure, you can call it, because you need to perform good in your academics to your parents can tell their relatives that yes, my son has got good marks and everything. So they just go behind the marks, and mentality is such that you need to score good. This is it.
MBA कर रहा था और उसके 2 सालों के बीच में हमें समर ट्रेनिंग करनी थी, तो उस समय पहली बार जाके 1 महीने गांव में जाके रहा। उनको समझ ही नहीं आई बात क्या कर रहे हैं, नहीं होता, क्योंकि मैं कहीं और हवा में पहुंच चुका था, कोई कनेक्शन ही नहीं था। उनकी ज़िंदगी, उनके जीवन, उनके संदर्भ और जो मैं बात कर रहा हूँ उसमें कोई जोड़ ही नहीं था। देख ही नहीं पा रहे थे मैं क्या बात कर रहा हूँ, राइट। तो उनको मेरी नॉलेज कुछ लगी नहीं, तो नहीं पता, तो मेरे पीठ पीछे थोड़ा सा हंसते थे, इतना पढ़ा लिखा आदमी यही नहीं पता इसको काम की चीज़।
Sometimes his very intimate, very close friends deny him the companionship, or he suffers from that pain many times because they don't think that's the way to live. But what do they do? Can you take away that space from the kid? No, very difficult. So there are dilemmas, there are paradoxes of this kind of journey, because sometimes it makes you very lonely. That's the price you pay. So while you have lots of friends, but at the end of the day you find there are not too many of them who will go all the way with you to search the same dots that will become a line. So it depends. I think the question you're asking is, why do people do this? And I think people do it because some people can't do without it. The question should be asked the other way around. Why don't more people do it?
After meeting with Ravi and Munzil, our next destination was to meet with a group of railway children who were being rehabilitated into society through an NGO called the Salam Balak Trust. As we were toured through the tunnels by one of the rehabilitated teens himself, we sought one teen in particular that we were to meet, a young actor who had gone from living in the railway tunnels out to the silver screen. But in the subsequent interview, there was something that just wasn't there. Here was a kid who had had the right look when an actor had visited the shelter and now was receiving pennies to play bit roles in films. It kind of just was what it was. But something about our tour guide struck me. And as we were making our somewhat disappointed exit, I requested we stop and take his story as well. There are things about Ashok that break me down. His depiction of freedom as simply being capable to order what you want at a restaurant. His circular dream about the home his family was evicted from and the ambition to return and repurchase it one day. His tightly held memories as a former son and a former brother. His story begs the question, when your support systems fail, what will you turn to? Ashok is not out to change the world. He may be doing so through the attitude he exhibits.
In Mumbai, I was thought in Mumbai I have a one home, which one my dad was said that I want that home. So because my mother also, when we are small, 5 years old, my mother stayed there. When I am small, then my family was very happy with me and my older brother. So that time when I am 5 years old, then my mom was dead. That time my dad was sick, like very dangerous. And that time all the money was lost, and we have a one home in Mumbai. So my dad sell them home. So that time we can go Bihar, because Bihar, my grandfather and my grandmother live there. So my grandfather and my grandmother, he was always beating me and my brother also. Meeting with us, and we don't know why they beat me. I don't work in Bihar.
Why did you not work?
No, when I was small, then I live in Mumbai. Then I do not know how can they work in Bihar, like farming, and I don't know that time when I was 12 years old. So that's why my grandmother and my grandfather beat me. And that's why we say that we don't want to live in here. My brother, when I asked them what do you want to become, when he was small, he said I want to become a doctor. The one day when I am 12 years old, my brother was run away from home because he became very dangerous in area. Became fighting with others, anybody. So my dad like 2-3 times find out my brother and call him. So and say them, why you are not studying? You have to study. Then he say, yeah, maybe I don't want to study. I want to work. happened suddenly in his mind, he wanted freedom, moving here and there and to fight with other. I don't know why. And now 2 years before, my brother was gone, dead. So I remember that day when I am going to home, then we both are fighting together like this.
You missed your brother a lot?
Yeah, lots of. My dad was so sick, then I thought I have to work hard. I work selling a clothes, and they gave me 1100 rupees per month. So I thought this money is very less for me, for my dad. So what can I do? That was so after 2 months after, my dad asked me, if you want to go to hostel, then you can come. So I thought this is the right way for me, for my future. My freedom is like when I was small, my dad, my brother and I and my mom, we all together went to the restaurant, and my dad tell us what you want, what is your favorite food. Then we are saying this is my favorite, this is my favorite, and this one. So I want to train in hotel management. Then I work, then I collect some money, then I open my business. A small restaurant I want to open in Mumbai. All the things is like non-veg, veg, and some kind of wine. Wine? Yeah, this one. Mumbai, I was thought in Mumbai I have one home. Which one my dad was selling, and I want that home. Yeah, same home. Then he was died, then I was saw that money in my eyes. So that's why I did.
I remember not knowing much. I think it was kind of the same across the board for the three of us. We had made it to this town, saw the mountains start rising up, and suddenly we turned off the road and we were at this village. And we had been told that these people made their lives as foragers and hunters and had generally remained away from society. I don't think we had really thought about this idea of moving away from one thing and stepping into something else entirely. For 2 weeks we were in Delhi, a dense city of tangled roads and piles of buildings, and now we were here. These girls lived within their village and they stayed within their village. It was their world. But they were being taught boxing, maybe as a means to another world. We had heard that this was a sort of method in teaching these young girls and the other kids about delayed accomplishment. And I remember when Kumar told me that and thinking, I don't get it. You know, what does that mean to them here? And there was a definite energy and excitement around the boxing, a fascination around this new activity, even among everyone watching. Later on, we got to sit down with one of the elders of the village and ask him, you know, what's the reasoning behind the boxing? And his tone was pretty indifferent. He said it's fine that the girls are boxing now, but once they reach the acceptable age to be married and have children, that's what they're going to do. It just was what it was. Who were we to say anything? We came to this village, there was a group of young boxers, whether it was more or less than that, I don't know.
So could you introduce yourself just for...
I will. I just feel that you took my breath away. Now I have no breath to give you.
Dr. Chatterjee, you're not such an ordinary person. You have lots of breath.
Yes, you tell me the questions and I'll answer them. I have figured out the anatomical method of using the entire body so that it's completely flexible and dissolve their body into the piano as if they are in an intimate embrace with their beloved. And when you are in your intimate embrace with your beloved, you say to the piano your most intimate whisperings of love and of expression. Nothing is more inspiring than love. And I teach them how to make love to the piano. That's that's the most important thing I have to say. And I know it's inviting smirks and smiles from other Indians who are sitting there because they're all very orthodox. I'm most unorthodox. Yes, because love is the most celebrated virtue of life. And I teach them how to intimately dissolve themselves into the body of the piano. Does it make it clear to you? So they are so inspired, they're electrified, and a lot of the strengths come out of that. Then of course it's detailed. As I said, they are almost like ballet-like movements of expressions that they learn. They all learn that. But each one finally learns to do it differently because they're all different individuals. And as I said to them, that the tone of their intimacy will always be different, yes? So even though I try to give them the same method, they eventually will sound all different and they will look different. Though they may appear a chip of the old block. That is me.
How do you recognize the talent?
That is a constant learning process from me. I am fooled, beguiled. Many a time I think this is a talented person. I hold on to him and I find out that the person has no passion. So I was telling you just a little bit ahead of time that to me passion is talent. Because if a person has a real urge to express himself through music, then he goes beyond himself to surpass what is called talent. He will work so hard, he will compensate everything that he has in him to say he is talented. I've been convinced by my students that passion is talent because passion will make you work hard.
We were still at the front end of our journey when we heard about a remarkable story that we'd find at the very end of it. A young engineer with a telescope who had given up his career to teach street children about the world around them. We told the people we were meeting about him, and one person in Chennai recommended we meet Rakesh Sharma, the only Indian who had ever been into space, and get his take on the telescope story. So he ran a few leads and actually got Rakesh's phone number. Alex gave it a ring and Rakesh answered, granting us a rare interview at his home in the mountains. So with my uncle's help, we went through the rainforest and searched for him in the hill station of Kunnur.
Can't see what's happening outside. So you just got these screens in front of you, CRTs, and that's giving you all the data that things are going all right. And they're just audible clues. There's a whole lot of vibration and there's a whole lot of noise which is coming through as part of the vibration. And you're swaying up there, hoping like hell that the control system keeps this launcher pointed in the right direction. The mountains are there, Himalayas, and those deep valleys, which from space look purple actually because the sun doesn't get into it, and of course snow-capped peaks. So there are various colors and textures, and all of it you get to see within about 4 to 5 minutes. You're looking at the damage that is being caused by our so-called modern way of living, the pollution into the oceans, which is clearly visible from space, the different colors, how it's coming. So that's the impact where it leaves you with. The parachute had these rigging lines. They ended up in a metal ring which was locked onto the capsule, and the metal would chafe against metal, and the capsule is shaped like a bell. So all the sound used to get amplified, and we were sitting, and I was certain that this parachute is going to part company with the capsule, and we're going to continue the rest of our flight just as a projectile. But that didn't happen. Unforgettable, the whole experience was, because everybody wants to hear about it and never seem to stop talking. So it's quite unforgettable for those reasons. Space has not been a life-changing experience, no. Whether it alters you fundamentally, psychologically, again, that's a very subjective thing. Some people it does, some people it doesn't. Professionals like us with a professional background, I mean, had I been a poet and I was shot into space, my response, spaceflight would affect me differently than if I was a military test pilot. So if you question as to how it happened, and see it for what it is, it's end of day, it's just luck, right? We are 1 billion people, and I'm the only guy who's been up, and it's a fleeting experience. What's 8 days in a lifetime? See, we are just a very, very small part of this huge universe. So let us not, think that we are the center of the universe. This is our place in the system of things. This is who you are. It's a huge place out there. It's worth exploring. And a telescope, what does it do? It just brings it that much closer, but it's still not reachable. Those objects which you see, they're still not reachable. Apart from showing those objects, I think to put it into context, that is what he should also be telling the kids. It's the context which is very important. Going to space is not as important as the context. What do you do from there on? Why do you go into space? Can you leverage something for people back on Earth?
Once Rakesh got back from space, he helped start an organization called Head Held High. Head Held High has discovered a model of condensing 12 years of education into 8 months. After helping 10, 120, and then 500 people who could not read, write, or speak English get jobs, Head Held High hopes for the tipping point, where other organizations start to steal their innovation and replicate it across the country to change the face of India.
You do get a holistic view of the planet, and you do see the planet in the environment it is, which is all very hostile. So you get the feeling that this is the only home we will ever have. Come, let's have tea, shall we?
Sure. Yeah.
There's a saying in India that goes, all Indians love to honk. It doesn't get much done, but it doesn't change their love for it. In this case, though, there's a very particular signal of respect that's happening behind the honks. What you can't see here is behind the bushes on this road are terrorists called Naxalites, armed with automatic rifles.
Going to harm them.
Oh.
Otherwise they suspect us as a police. So we will be in danger.
They're instructed to shoot at vehicles that do not honk to acknowledge their presence and their assumed control in this region of Bihar, India.
Challenging them. You are telling that you want to develop nation. Why you are hiding in the forest? Come out.
I'm traveling with Gems, an outwardly Christian organization that is the only government or non-government group allowed to operate here. I asked why, and I heard a story of how they built a school for a village in the mountains controlled by the Naxalites, the first school that village had ever had for their children. The Naxalites blew it up one day, and the villagers confronted the terrorists, the ones holding the machine guns, and demanded that if they didn't allow GEMS to operate, the Naxalites would simply have to shoot them right then and there. And so a forced treaty was formed with GEMS that not even the police could hope to forge. One of the days we were there, we were shown one of the children's schools they had established. We were told we'd been shown that, plus a rescue center for women whose relatives forced them into prostitution for family income. While we were at the school, I inquired about that second stop. It felt like someone had sucker punched me when I was told that the two places were one and the same, and it was these children around me, none older than 15, that were the ones their families had once rented out to the Naxalites. Seeing GEMS operate helped me understand that tolerance is created out of the actions you take, not the faith you claim. GEMS earns the right to operate and therefore finds respect amid differences in what they believe. I also want to share with you a story of a book I found on a mass paperback pile all the way back in New Delhi. Called The City of Joy, the book details the hottest, most dense slum on earth. It so happens our travels took us to Kolkata, very near to the written about slum. And so one day I went out alone to try and find it. Getting closer to the location described in the paperback, I couldn't find it. On my way through the thin and dirty alleyways, a flash flood struck, and so I had to duck into a shop, and after some time I left and searched for 2 more hours, but could not find the slum described in the book. Heading home, I was past the same shop I had ducked into, and was greeted by the shop owner's son. I explained to him that I wasn't able to find the slum I had read about in the book and was heading home. The son apologized and wished me well. As I walked, suddenly I heard a noise of sliding metal and then a slamming stop. I wheeled around and the son was shutting down his shop. He ran over to me and said, "Come, I will take you." Children are amazing. They're often the redemption of any story, including these ones. Even when they must use piles of garbage as a wall to their homes, there is a spirit within them that cannot be extinguished. They see the hope in any situation. Maybe we can too. We were halfway through our trip, and we still hadn't found one of the key characters to our film, the legend known only as the Monkey Man. He had gotten his name from the way he lived and moved, and here we were trying to track him down. We saw videos of him moving in unnatural ways, and heard stories of kids leaving their families to follow him around. We heard rumors that his suicide attempt is what turned him into a monkey. But we just weren't able to locate him, even as we crossed into Karnataka, the land in which he was most well known. We were 2 days from leaving Karnataka for good. I was searching the web just one more time, this time using an Indian search engine instead of Google. There was an odd site with a cell phone number listed at the bottom. Now, I didn't really believe he would have a phone, but I gave the number a call, and he answered. In broken Tamil, the little that I knew, I found out he was coming to the city we were at that very night. So, we got in a rickshaw and headed to the train station to find this guy.
sir.
8 and
Jyoti Raju was taken from his home village at age 5 and forced into slave labor at a spice factory inside Karnataka.
அப்புறம் 18 வருஷம் ஆன பிறகு தான் எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சது இந்த மாதிரி நம்ம எதுவுமே இது பண்ணல அப்படின்னு சொல்லி சூசைடுக்கு ட்ரை பண்ணேன். இயர்ஸ்லேருந்தே எனக்கு ஸ்டார்ட் ஆகுது. கனவுல நைட்டில் கனவுல ஃபோர்ட் வரும். நான் தமிழ்நாட்டில் இருக்கும்போது சித்திரதுர்கா ஃபோர்ட்டு கனவுல வரும். 3 வருஷமாக அப்படியே சுற்றி தேடிக்கிட்டு இருந்தேன் ஃபோர்ட்டு. ஆனால் எனக்கு அன்ன வரைக்கும் 18 வயசு வரைக்கும் அந்த ஃபோர்ட்டு கனவுல வந்துக்கிட்டே இருந்துச்சு. ஒரு நாள் அந்த கோட்டைக்கு சூசைடுக்காக வேண்டியே அந்த கோட்டைக்கு போனேன். அப்போ தான் எனக்கு தெரியும் அந்த அன்னைக்கு சூசைடு பண்ணல. அன்னைக்கு இருந்து அந்த கனவும் இல்லை, அந்த ஃபோர்ட்டும் இல்லை.
So he scrambled up the structure, eager to throw himself off of it. As he stood at the edge, there was something that stopped him. A crowd had amassed at the bottom, clapping and cheering for the way he had climbed up.
These one fort and monkey, all of this, korangu, fort, idella trees la varum. Ipo illa. First time I'm going the Chitradurga fort, I'm climbing.
After climbing down from his suicide attempt, Jyoti started to watch the way monkeys moved and eventually went to live among them for a time, gaining a new mindset in the process.
How many monkeys? 648.
And you know every one of them?
Yeah. One monkey is one leg is no. This is Kaadu Korangu. Kalayila Pendalam Paapom. His hair is coming the monkey. Monkey and my is close friends. எனக்கு வந்து நான் கீழேருந்து மேலே ஏறி போவேன்ல, நான் டாப்புக்கு போவேன்ற நம்பிக்கை எனக்கு கிடையாது. இல்லை நம்ம ஆகட்டும் ஒன்று கீழே விழுவோம், இல்லாட்டி ஏறிடுவோம். ಸಾಧಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಇಲ್ಲ ಸತ್ತಾಗ್ಬಿಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅದನ್ನೇ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದ. ಹಂಗಾಗಿ ಅದು ಇದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತು. கொஞ்சளவு கண்ட்ரோல் பண்ணி மூவ் பண்ணுவேன். ஆனால் நான் ஏறிக்கு இருக்கும்போது பிடிக்கிற பவருக்கு கல்லுகில் பிடிக்கிட்டு வந்துலாம் விழுந்திருக்கேன். எனக்கு ரெண்டில் எது வேண்டாலும் ஓகே. எனக்கு ரெண்டுமே லைக் இருக்கு.
Both Ravi and Vinay to the left had normal families who had sent them to school, but the schools in the area failed and were shut down. During the transition, they met the Monkey Man and began to follow him instead. The Monkey Man taught them about the earth, and through the climbers they competed against and the other obstacles they met along the way, they found themselves far more mature than almost any other individual their age. Jyoti Raju, the Monkey Man, sought death but found life. By letting humanity embrace him, and by embracing animal kind, he found his sanctuary, and now helps others climb higher.
சாதிக்கணும், என்னோட மனசில் சாதிக்கணும்ன்ற ஒரு ஆசை தானே. அதனால எது எம்புட்டு தண்டியாக இருந்தாலும் ட்ரை பண்ணுறதுக்கு ரெடி.
You're staring at a man possessed right now. As the legend goes, Kalaje Rathore was a Rajasthani warrior in the 1500s, famous for his bravery in a bloody battle against the Mongols, in which he ultimately became a martyr. It is said that his spirit stuck around to continue to fight for his people, and today inhabits a man every Sunday afternoon to help his people with their problems. But wait, let's backtrack a second. How did we really get here, and why did we feel this had a bearing on our film? Well, it all started when we were back in Goa. It was my second time there. I had been there for New Year's before. We had rented scooters to get around the rainy coasts, and I actually got in a wreck. It costed me about 5,000 rupees to repair my bike, and about 1,500 for the car that I hit. There's something about getting in a wreck that really brings you into a really human mood. And after that, I wanted to keep a fairly low profile until I flew out of Ahmedabad, which was the last leg on our journey. I was about 2 days from boarding our flight for America, sweet, sweet America, when our travel guide, Amit, was talking to us over lunch about a man who was changing the very face of a village out in northwest India. The thing was, he did it apparently by increasing their luck. And apparently he did it only with the help and inhabitants of a ghost. We had to find out more. Well, more like we had to prove this wrong for ourselves. We thought with American minds and empirical cameras, we would show this to be nothing more than a hoax. I think inside of each of us, we were kind of excited by the thought it could be real. It was Saturday, and my trip was over on Tuesday, and so we had one chance at this, and we made the call to go.
एक जोत जला दे
ना अभ्यास नहीं किया तो बराबर
वो थोड़ी
Apparently, the spirit would help by telling them exactly where to plant their crops, when and who to marry, who to do business with, where to live, and also would cure several different ailments. It kind of reminded me, Geek Alert, of the Oracle from The Matrix. You were told exactly what you needed to hear.
सुरा सोही जानी है इन जोड़ लड़े दिन के हेतु पुरजा कट पड़े इन फिर भी न छोड़े खेतु कला थारे न मरो न हेलो को 100,000 बाह पकड़ी बैठा करे यार बड़ी आधार कलो लड़े कबन सुन माथे दसरो मोड़ प्रगट्यो सारी पृथ्वी पर रहन लियो राठौड़ पहलो पड़ावो फसलावे इन पसेरने लेगा सो को हेलो सुने कुमद भूप कल्याण बोलिए कल्याण देव की जय।
रूसी कौन?
ऋषि
किसको
John, where is John?
They have called you.
They have called you. Go.
Go ahead.
John.
Coach John.
John.
Sit there.
उनको पता नहीं था जो
Please sit here. Yes.
You can sit there. You can sit there.
ऋषि तो हम जाइए ऋषि
John.
तो इंग्लिश में बता
वो तो इंग्लिश में ही बोलते हैं
वो है भैया
इधर आ जा
तो बोले
बोलो कई नाम है थारो जॉन है कि तुम अरे सृष्टि में ईश्वर है
They are asking if you believe in God in this world.
Absolutely.
मानते हैं.
तो जो भगवान है वो ईश्वर है
They are telling that whatever is in your heart, that's God.
Tell him I don't believe in that.
वो बोलते हैं कि वो नहीं मानते.
ऐसा अगर आइए
है
ये बोलते हैं कि वो बात नहीं मानते.
I'm an imperfect person.
तो अगर हम बोल रहे हैं कि दूसरा है
I am not God.
समझा
वो कह रहे हैं कि खुद भगवान नहीं मानते.
नहीं है स्वर्ग की आस्था कहीं जुड़ी है
How can you test the heaven? They are asking. How can you believe that something like heaven exists? If you don't feel or have an inside your heart, how can you believe that something like heart exists? Something like heaven exists in this world?
Well, I have a personal relationship with God, and these are the truths that He's told me in different ways through other people, through His Word.
How can you prove that?
How can I prove that? How can you prove that? How can you prove that He's speaking with influence from the Spirit?
उनकी जो इच्छा वो चाहते हैं भी इनकी जो इच्छा है वो पूछे
सुन बात कर रहे हैं
You haven't met any accidents in there?
उनको चाहते हो
अरे एक मिनट
अरे कुछ सुन ले हम के
Small.
लाल रंग की गाड़ी कटे
He's asking
Where is your red car?
Red vehicle.
Red vehicle.
Do you have any red vehicle like
Red.
मना कर रहे नहीं
हैं?
मना कर रहे नहीं
कुछ
Car. Red. Any red
Anything
vehicle?
red.
No. Any relative friend red? Which you have driven into? Your husband? No.
Come on. The moped was red.
My moped?
You got into an accident.
योर फ्रेंड
Moped.
You got into an accident with a red moped.
एक्सीडेंट हुआ था वो
वही
तो पूछा है लाल गाड़ी का
कई लोग होते हैं दुर्घटना में कितने गए में हो
What happened after this accident took place? I paid for the other man's car.
उन्होंने दूसरी गाड़ी के लिए पैसे
Take it, just got damage हुआ and I spent the next 2 days.
नुकसान
खर्च दी तो मैंने
कितना पैसा दिया? How much I paid?
1500 रुपये देता
He's telling 1500.
He's telling you 1500.
5000 तो गाड़ी रो खर्चो भी हो जने रो एक्सीडेंट दुर्घटना हुई के बड़े रो खर्चो 5000 रुपये और 25000 रुपये तुझे कटे
He's asking where the remaining
25,000. You had something cash like something cash of 30, 35, 40,000. Where is the remaining 25? It's all been spent.
I brought 30,000 rupees to India. And beyond what I had to pay for the scooter and the car, 25,000 is exactly the amount I had spent to this point.
कोई मिली
नहीं ग्रेसी नहीं
Gracie?
Gracie.
Grace?
ग्रेसी
My grandmother.
कर लें
The spirit knows of my grandmother. Because my grandmother is very, very close. Very close to God.
कोस्टा रिका
वो काफी भगवान की प्रति आस्था
और आस्थाओं जुड़ी है मेरी आस्था बड़ी रही भगवान के प्रति वो समर्पित.
He knows very well your God is very much
Devoted.
गोवार में नहीं व्यो. हैं? दुनिया पार्टी बना माचा तो है.
Feeling that you are on the way back to your home after having your celebration. So the accident happened, you were able to wait after you had the celebration.
No.
काम पार कर जुमारा था
Went to Goa previous time?
इष्ट कौन जाने आगे से कोई की करते करते
That's great.
गोवार में पार्टी थे.
But last time you partied there, not this time. Before this time.
No, wasn't it New Year's?
भगवान
Last Goa was New Year's.
He's asking what you are feeling here and what you are
What do you think? What here is? He's asking. What this
right? Yeah, this reason is all that.
This is a place where one either demon or an angel is speaking to a man right now, and these people are believing in that power. Anything other you want to ask or something, anything related to tell him these people need the voice of Jesus Christ, and that this should point them to Him and not to himself.
पूछ रहे कि जो जीसस क्राइस्ट है कि भगवान के पुत्र हैं
अलौकिक अदृश्य शक्ति है.
some divine
powerful
which
we cannot be seen,
which we cannot see.
Only under permission of Jesus Christ is this spirit allowed to be in power.
मुझे कि एक ही जैसे ये ईसा मसीह मानते हैं, तो क्या ईसा मसीह के थ्रू ही मतलब ये देव शक्ति जैसे किसी आती है किसी इंसान के उनकी परमिशन से ही आती है उनके
Anytime the spirit's time. Anytime the spirit's the power that this spirit has will act.
भगवान ईश्वर है जति घणी पहला नहीं क्या सृष्टि घणी बनी.
He's asking who made this world.
This universe, this world. God. God made this world. God also made the spirit that's in control of this man's body right now.
After that moment, I left the room. I sprinted out to a nearby field and I fell on my face, crying out to God of what I should do. I saw such devotion to this spirit from the villagers and such defiance to God from the spirit. So I asked God what He'd have me do. Do I let this just happen? Do I cast him out? What? The following portion of the story actually isn't captured on camera. Our camera was filming elsewhere around the village when these events happened. After some time, I decided to turn to His Word, the Bible, for guidance. I grabbed it from the car and I put it in my pocket, a small pocket Bible. And then I went to stand outside the doorstep of the spirit's home for a while and just kind of watch, trying to feel a stirring from God. I thought I saw a crucifix actually painted on the wall behind him and above him, but you can kind of see it here. So I took a step inside the door, and that's when it happened. The spirit stopped what it was saying to one of the villagers and suddenly blurted out something, and then again and again. After multiple times of repeating itself, one of the translators spoke it out in English. "Where's the book?" He's asking, "Where's the book?" And I knew exactly what they were talking about. So I walked up again, and I sat down in front of them, and they asked me, "What is that?" And I said, "It's a Bible." "Why did you bring this here?" I said, "It's God's revelation to me." They said, "So then read some of it." And so I opened the Bible, and my eyes, they landed on the verse, John 3:14. "Just as Moses lifted up the snake in the wilderness, so the Son of Man must also be lifted up." After I had said it, the spirit got defensive. It said, "I know Jesus, and he knows me. We're the same. We're both just trying to help people." I found it in me to admonish it with a strict warning. To equalize itself to Christ was risky, and should this spirit continue to use its power and bring glory to itself, it was running the risk of being cast out. It was on borrowed time. They responded, "Okay, let's see it." And that's when a couple of the leaders surrounded me. At that moment, I knew it was time to leave. For me, the takeaway was really complicated. But for the viewer, maybe it's pretty simple. When considering catalysts for social change, don't discount the supernatural.
This was one of our last days in India. We had spent time the past couple days in the Gandhi Ashram, the home of Mahatma Gandhi. While we were there, we discovered this home in the back. It's really tucked away, where 150 kids live. They come from the untouchable caste, and their parents are street cleaners and sanitation workers. The home is run by an NGO called Manav Sadhana. We asked the director the previous day if they'd be open to having us bring performers to the home, even though we didn't have any. We showed up a few hours later unannounced to a classical Indian music school called Saptak. We told them about our idea, and in this amazing display of generosity and community, with less than 24-hour notice, there were 20 musicians that had showed up, and 150 kids that were staying up past their bedtime. We invited Kashyap Tagat and his telescope that night. He went to school in Ahmedabad but dropped out in 12th standard after he failed his math courses. He's just found this amazing niche for himself in teaching in astronomy, where he travels across India and brings the stars to the kids. Wait, are you filming? Because I want you to skip this.
Yeah, I'm filming.
You got it?
Yeah, I'm filming.
Have you been changed by it?
Yep. You asking me or the audience?
I'm sorry?
Thank you.